Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss chapter 7, body fluids and circulation. All living cells have to be supplied with nutrients, gases and other substances, and also extracted or eliminated waste products by the transport of different methods. In the lower organism, example, sponges transport the substances by the water canal system. In echinoderms, transport the waste products by the water vascular system. In the higher organism, especially mammals, are transported these substances by different types of the body fluids. In human circulatory system, transport the blood or flow the blood. 1 milliliter of the blood flow from the heart to the feet of the body within 60 seconds. 60 seconds by diffusion. The circulatory system helps to transport the gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen from the tissue to the lungs and lungs to the tissues. It helps to transport the nutrients after the digestion, glucose, amino acids, vitamins, fatty acids from intestine to the tissues and liver for storage purpose. This system helps to collect the waste products from the tissues to the kidney. That means transport to the kidney. And it transports the hormones to the target organs. At the same time, it maintaining the body temperature as well as the homeostasis of the body fluids. This homeostasis regulate the cardiovascular system. That means maintaining the blood flow to the heart and the brain. It maintaining the vasovagal syncope, that means maintaining the fainting. Signals from the nervous system cause sudden diseases or sudden things in the decreasing the blood pressure. Suddenly decreasing the blood pressure, these are maintained by the homeostasis. In this chapter, we are going to read body fluids, and how the heart and other blood vessels are working together. First, we are going to see body fluids. Body fluids consist of water and other substances which are dissolved in the body fluids. These body fluids has two types. Extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. Intracellular fluid present in the inside of the cell. Extracellular fluid present outside of the cell. This extracellular fluid has three types. First one, interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. It surrounds the cells. Second one, plasma. It is component of the blood. Third one, lymph. Out of these three, first we are seeing about interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. The blood flowing into the the capillary from an arteriole as a hydrostatic pressure. What pressure? Hydrostatic pressure. This pressure brought about by the pumping action of the heart. Pumping action of the heart. Force of this pressure, the small substances and water flow from the arteries to the, that means capillary to the tissues through the capillary wall. The volume of fluid leaves from the capillary, that is called the tissue fluid. The volume of fluid leaves from the capillary, that is called the tissue fluid. It takes place by two types of the pressure. One is hydrostatic pressure, another one is the oncotic pressure. Two types of the pressure. One is hydroscopic pressure, another one is oncotic pressure. At the anterior end of the blood capillaries or capillary bed, the water potential is very low than the hydrostatic pressure. So, fluid flows from there or pushes from the tissues to the capillary. Tissues to the capillary or otherwise from capillary to the tissues. So, at the anterior end of the capillary bed, the hydrostatic pressure of the is high than the water potential. So, the fluid passes from the capillary to the tissues. The tissues has very low amount of the protein than the blood. At the end of the capillary vein, the water potential is high than the hydrostatic pressure. So, the fluid passes from the tissue to the capillary and the water drawn back into the blood. Second, plasma. Composition of the blood. In the composition of the blood is a common body fluid. It is connective tissue. It transports the materials from one part of the body to the another part. It consists of plasma and formed elements. The plasma amount is 55%, the total volume of the blood. Remaining 45% are formed elements. The average man has 5,000 milliliter of the blood or 5 liters of blood in adult. The average weight is 70 kg. First, plasma. Plasma consists of water, plasma protein, inorganic constituents, organic constituents. Water is present 70 to 80%. We can say it is 80 to 90% also. Plasma proteins and inorganic constituents are present 0.9%. Organic constituents 0.1%. First, plasma protein. The plasma proteins are synthesized in the liver. There are 4 types of the plasma protein. First one, albumin. Second one, globulin. Third one, fibrinogen. We are including in that one prothrombin. So, totally, in the lower class we studied albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. So, in 11th standard we are reading there are 4 kinds of the plasma protein. Albumin, globulin, fibrinogen and prothrombin. The albumin, it maintaining the osmotic pressure of the blood. Osmotic pressure of the blood. Globulin facilitate the transport of ions, hormones and lipids, and also facilitate the immune function. Fibrinogen and prothrombin are involving in the clotting of blood. Okay, next one, inorganic constituents. Inorganic constituents are urea, glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and vitamins. Organic constituents. Organic constituents are calcium, chloride, carbonate, sodium, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium. These plasma constituents are not constant in all times. After the meal, the glucose increasing in that means glucose level is increasing in the blood, so it is transported to the liver for storage through the hepatic portal vein. So the glucose level is more in the hepatic portal vein in the first time. After, it is decreasing slowly, this amount is decreasing slowly. Whenever you are taking more amount of the protein or requiring the more amount of the protein is converted into amino acid. But amino acid does not store in our body. So it converted as a urea. And the urea amount is increasing in the hepatic vein, then the hepatic portal vein and the hepatic arteries. Formed elements. RBC, WBC, platelets are called formed elements. First, we are seeing RBC. RBC are red blood corpuscles or erythrocytes. Its amount 5 million to 5.5 million in 1 cubic millimeter of the blood in man. Its number is 4.5 million to 5 million in 1 cubic millimeter of the blood in woman. These RBCs are produced in the bone marrow. Its structure we are taking means it is spherical structure or biconcave in shape. It do not have nucleus, but in the early stage, these RBC cells are the nucleus. In the later stage, mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulums, these are disintegrated. In that place is occupied by hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is one of the pigment which is present in the RBC. So due to presence of hemoglobin, the blood is red in color. This hemoglobin carry the oxygen. With the help of the hemoglobin only, gases are exchanging in the lungs to the tissues and tissues to the lungs. Now, this hemoglobin is very, very essential for the transport of gases. These RBC cells are produced in the bone marrow after the death. That means it will need the lifetime. The lifespan of the RBC is 120 days in male, 110 days in female. 120 days in male and 110 days in female. After the 120 days, these RBCs are destroyed in the spleen. So the spleen is known as graveyard of the RBC. Spleen is known as the graveyard of the RBC. The iron content, hemoglobin, heme plus iron. The heme is the protein particles. Heme and iron. Heme is a globulin. Iron is a heme part. That means heme is plus iron, or we can say the heme and iron. The globulin is the protein part. It transport to the or destroyed in the bone marrow. But iron transport to the bone marrow for later use. So after the 120 days, the RBC cells are destroyed in the spleen. So the heme globulin part only destroyed in the spleen, and iron part directly transport to the bone marrow for later use. These RBC cells are increasing in the body. Sometimes it decreasing in the body. Whenever it decreasing in our body, so it is one of the protein is producing in our body, that is called the hematopoietin. Hematopoietin. Whenever RBC amount is reducing in our body, the hormone hematopoietin is producing in the kidney and transport to the bone marrow and stimulate the bone marrow to produce the RBC, that is called the hematopoiesis. The production of the RBC in the bone marrow, that process is called the hematopoiesis. So the RBC diameter, that means we have seen about the structure, that is one of the diameter is 7 millimeter, micrometer, 7 micrometer. Whenever the RBC amount is increasing in our body, it leads to the polycythemia. The disorder is called the polycythemia. Whenever the RBC amount is decreasing in our body, it leads to the, that is one of the disorder that is called the anemia. Next cell is WBC. White blood corpuscles or leukocyte. It is amoeboid in nature. It has a nucleus and its movement is amoeboid movement. This WBC classified into two types. Presence of granules in the cytoplasm. One is granulocyte. Another one is the agranulocyte. Granulocytes has three types: neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils. First one, neutrophils. Its amount is 60 to 65% in the total volume of the WBC. It is otherwise called erythrophils. It is called PMN. PMN means it has a numerous amount of the nucleus. That means 4 or 5 nucleus are present. So this neutrophils number is increasing, surround the infective tissues. Surround the infective tissues. Next one, basophils. The basophils are only 2 lobes nucleus. The 2 lobes nucleus are not connected by the thread-like structure. These basophils are present only 0.5 to 1%. Very least amount of the base cells only present in the total volume of the WBC. So these basophils secrete the 3 types of the substances. One is heparin. Second one is sarcotinin. Next one, histamine. These are the inflammatory action. These are helpful for the inflammatory action. So it is called the inflammatory barriers. The heparin is present in the blood. So the blood does not clot when it is present in the blood vessels. That means heparin only avoiding the clotting of blood when the blood is present in the blood vessels. Next one, eosinophils. That is 2 to 3% present in the total volume of the WBC. So this blood, this eosinophil cells has 2 lobes. The 2 lobes are attached by the thread. The two lobes are attached by the thread. It involving in the amount is increasing during the parasitic infection and allergic reaction. Its amount is increasing during parasitic infection and allergic reaction. Next one, A granulocytes. The A granulocytes has two types. One is lymphocyte, another one is monocytes. The lymphocyte has large number of the or large size of the nucleus, so the cytoplasm amount is very less. 28% of the lymphocytes are present in the total volume of the WBC. This lymphocyte has two types. That means two types of the cells are present there. That is a T cell and B cell. The T cells number is increasing when the body is infected by the virus. So it producing more amount of the T cells and giving the protection to the body. That is called the cell mediated immunity. CMI, cell mediated immunity. The B cells amount is increasing when the body is infected by the bacteria and giving the protection to the body. That is called the antibody mediated immunity, AMI, antibody mediated immunity. Next one, monocytes. These monocytes are macrophages. Monocytes are macrophages. These are the phagocytic cells. Or macrophages. This nucleus is kidney shaped. The nucleus is kidney shaped. The macrophages which is present in the brain, that is called the neuroglia. The macrophages which is present in the liver, that is called the Kupffer cells. Neuroglia and Kupffer cells. When it is present in the pulmonary region, it is called the alveolar macrophages. These macrophages are giving the body protection from the invading microorganisms. The WBC amount is whenever increasing in our body, it leads to the blood cancer or leukemia. Whenever the WBC amount is decreasing in our body, it leads to the leukopenia. Next cell is the platelets. The platelets are otherwise called the thrombocytes. It is irregular in shape. It does not have nucleus. It is synthesized by megakaryocytes. Megakaryocytes. It is one of the special cells present in the bone marrow. So it is synthesized or it secretes some substances. These substances are help for blood clotting. Whenever the substance amounts are decreasing in the body or platelets amount is decreasing in the body, it leads to clotting disorders. Next, body fluid is the lymph. The lymph, 90% of the fluid leak or seek out from the capillary to the outside, and 80% are once again move from the tissues to the capillary. The remaining 10% of the fluids are collected by the special tube that is called the lymphatic vessel or lymphatics. The fluid which is present in the lymphatic vessel is known as the lymph. The lymph is white in color because hemoglobin pigment is absent. But other materials what are present in the blood, like that all the substances are present in the lymph. This lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessels, lymphatic cells. The lymphatic vessels run parallel to the blood vessels in the skin, respiratory tract and digestive tract. The lymph fluid passes through the lymph nodes before return to the blood. The lymph passes to the lymph node, then it is before return to the blood, it needs one place for stagnation. That place is called the lymph nodes. The lymph fluid reaches to the lymph node, then from the lymph node it is flows to the collecting duct and drain into the larger vein which is present in the collarbone and subclavian vein. Next, it drain into the bloodstream. These lymph nodes lined with the macrophages. We already know what is macrophages. That macrophages only called the monocytes. These macrophages prevent the invading microorganisms. In intestine, the absorbing unit is present. That is called the villi. In the inside of the villi, in the central part, there is one duct is present. That is called the lacteal duct. This is also one type of the lymphatic duct. It absorbs the fatty acid. Already fat is digested in the intestine and produced there like a fatty acid. That fatty acid is absorbed in the lacteal duct which is present in the villi. Today we studied about the different type of the body fluid like tissue fluid, plasma and lymph. Tissue fluids are present outside of the cells. That means in between the two cells. Plasma, that is called the composition of the blood. Plasma as well as the composition of the blood, that is a formed elements or totally called the blood. That is a one type of the common body fluid. Next, lymph. The lymph also like a blood, but it do not have the hemoglobin pigment. So in the next class, we will read about structure of the heart and structure of the blood vessels and how the heart and blood vessels are working together. Thank you.